Every day, in the hour before dawn, a machine larger than any factory on Earth quietly turns itself on. Millions of trucks pull out of yards, docks and truck stops across the United States, hauling more than 70% of everything the country moves. Over 11 billion tons of freight a year. The medicine in your pharmacy arrived this morning. The fuel in the gas station down your street arrived yesterday. The food on your shelf has been in the store for less than 3 days. Almost nobody thinks about this machine because it has never once stopped. One rule before we start the clock. Everything you're about to hear assumes only one thing. The trucks stop. No war, no disaster, no explanation. Just every truck in America park tomorrow morning. Everything else, every shortage, every timeline, comes from the industry's own research into how thin the country's buffers really are. Hour zero. Nothing happens. That is the eerie part. The morning the trucks stop, your city looks completely normal. Store shelves are full. Gas stations glow. Hospitals hum. Everyone who predicted chaos looks paranoid for about half a day. Because America does not run out of things all at once. It runs out of things on a schedule written by something called just-in-time logistics. Decades ago, businesses discovered that warehouses full of backup inventory are expensive and trucks are cheap and reliable. Why pay to store a month of stock when a truck can deliver tomorrow and another the day after, forever? So the warehouses shrank, the backrooms of supermarkets shrank, the parts, bins of factories shrank, and the truck itself became the warehouse. A rolling stockroom arriving exactly when needed. Nearly 100% of modern manufacturing and retail runs this way. It is brilliantly efficient. It is a big part of why everything you buy is as cheap as it is. And it means the entire country lives roughly 72 hours from empty. Hour 24. The first cracks exactly where the report predicted. Hospitals and nursing homes begin running short of basic medical supplies. Many are resupplied daily, some multiple times a day. Assembly lines start stalling, not for lack of workers, but for lack of parts. No components arriving means no products leaving, and factories begin sending workers home within hours. Mail and package delivery stops nationwide. And at the gas stations, the countdown becomes visible. The average American station needs a fuel delivery roughly every 2.5 days. Busy ones need 2 tankers a day. And the first stations are already flashing plastic bags over their pump handles. Nothing has run out nationally yet. Day 2 to 3. Now the panic arrives, and panic, it turns out, is a multiplier. The report is specific. Food shortages escalate, driven as much by hoarding as by actual supply. Bottled water, powdered milk, canned meat, gone from major retailers. Meanwhile, ATMs and banks begin running out of cash because cash arrives by armoured truck. Service stations run completely dry. Garbage starts piling on the curbs of every city, day after day, with no pickup coming. And at the ports, a global traffic jam is forming. Tens of thousands of import containers a day with no trucks to receive them, container ships anchoring offshore, and the railroads, which depend on trucks for their first and last mile, grinding toward a standstill behind them. 3 days in, and the disruption has already jumped the ocean, and out in the countryside, a slower, crueler clock is ticking that city dwellers never see. Livestock operations run on feed deliveries, by truck. Ranchers move animals to processing, by truck. Within days, feed begins running short on feedlots holding thousands of animals. waste stops being hauled, and meat production halts, not at the supermarket, but at the very first link of the chain. Farming, the one industry everyone assumes could survive without the modern world, turns out to be wired into the truck network as tightly as any factory. The countryside does not escape the shutdown, it just experiences it in a different order. 1 week, the roads go quiet. With the fuel system empty, ordinary car travel effectively ceases. And this is where the collapse stops being about shopping and starts being about survival. No fuel means people cannot get to work, to the grocery store, or to medical care. It means police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances are rationing every gallon. And in the hospitals, the report reaches one of its coldest lines. Within about a week, hospitals begin exhausting their oxygen supplies. You have a quarter tank of fuel left in your car, and it is the last fuel you will get. One final run for food, water and medicine for your family, while the stores still have anything left and before the crowds make the trip dangerous. For the emergency you cannot predict, the hospital run at 3 in the morning, the escape you might need in week 3 when the water goes, burn it now or bank it for later. There is no third option and no refill coming. And everyone around you is making the same calculation at the same time, which means whatever you choose, the window for the other option is closing while you think. Put your choice in the comments with one line of reasoning. And notice, as you type it, how fast a full tank stopped being about convenience and became a strategy. That is what the end of trucking does to a country. It turns every gallon into a decision. The shortage I promised you at the start, the one nobody guesses. Think for a second before I tell you. The shelves are stripped, the tanks are dry, the hospitals are rationing. What could possibly still be left to lose? The answer is coming out of your tap right now. Water. Not because the pipes fail, because of chemistry. Americans drink more than 1 billion glasses of tap water a day, and every drop of it is made safe by purification chemicals, above all chlorine, delivered to water treatment plants in cylinders by truck on average every 7 to 14 days. No deliveries means the chlorine runs out, plant by plant, city by city. In week 2, read those 2 sentences again and understand what they mean. The United States of America is, at all times, about 4 weeks of truck deliveries away from losing safe drinking water. Not food, not fuel, water. That is the quiet fact buried in an industry report from 2006 that almost nobody outside logistics has ever read. So pull the camera back, because the point of this thought experiment was never the apocalypse. It is what the apocalypse reveals. Run the film backward. The water clears, the shelves refill, the pumps flow, the hospitals breathe. Every single step of that recovery is a truck driven by a person. Roughly 3.5 million professional drivers, plus millions more in the freight economy around them, are the reason the 72-hour countdown never starts. And notice something else the timeline revealed, how invisible the failure points were. Nobody in the thought experiment starved because farms failed. The food existed the entire time, rotting at origin. Nobody went thirsty because the reservoirs emptied. The water was there, waiting for a chemical that travels in a cylinder on a flatbed. The scenario never destroyed anything. It only stopped the moving. And the moving, it turns out, was the civilization. Here is the uncomfortable contrast at the heart of it. This civilization-critical system is not run like one. It is run by hundreds of thousands of small businesses and one truck owner-operators on brutal margins. The same people who, as we covered in our video on the freight collapse, exit this industry by the tens of thousands when rates crash. Nobody would design a life support system this fragile on purpose. We did not design it. We optimized our way into it, one cancelled warehouse at a time, because trucks never stopped. So we planned as if they never could. One honest note before the final question: a full, permanent, nationwide stop of every truck at once is not a realistic single event. The scenario is extreme by design. That is what makes it useful. You do not learn where the floor is by standing on it. You learn by asking what happens when it is gone. So here is your final question, and it is about respect and money. So it will start a fight. Knowing now that this entire country sits 72 hours from empty shelves and 4 weeks from unsafe water, and that the people preventing it are among the most squeezed, undercut and invisible workers in the economy, pick a side. Side one: this is a market like any other. Trucking pays what freight is worth, and if the system truly broke, pay would rise to fix it. No special treatment needed. Side 2. Truckers are critical infrastructure, the same as the power grid, and a country that is 4 weeks from waterborne disease without them should treat them in pay, parking and policy, like the load-bearing wall they are. Market job or critical infrastructure, one or the other, in the comments. And if you drive a truck, tell us what you are hauling today. Everyone else in this comment section is going to be using it within a week.